So with that said, let's move on to a pay-per-view that happened that was pretty damn good, if I'm allowed to say, because again, I did not watch it. I was working while the pay-per-view was happening, but again, the build-up for that pay-per-view outshines 100 times to 1 what WWE currently does with Survivor Series. And of course, I'm talking about AEW's Full Gear in Minnesota this past weekend, where the biggest result was Hangman Adam Page finally becoming the AEW World Champion. He finally beat his former tag team partner, his former tag team champion in Kenny Omega, in the main event of AEW's final pay-per-view extravaganza of the year. He beat them. He beat what has been, up until now, the most dominant AEW World Champion of all time. And it appears that AEW finally has a homegrown star as their world champion. Whatever definition of homegrown you have, that's entirely up on you, because you might consider Kenny Omega to be a homegrown star, since, you know, he was part of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then Hangman Adam Page was a part of Ring of Honor Wrestling, and there's a lot going up. True homegrown stars is just, to me, is just someone who wasn't brought up by WCW, it wasn't brought up by WWE, not one bit. So with that said, where do we go now? Because clearly, AEW built to this story, maybe not a year in advance, although some fans would want you to think that way. They did build this up, and a lot of fans were disappointed when this match, this moment, did not happen in August at All Out, and Christian Cage was the one who replaced Hangman Adam Page at that time. A lot of fans, a lot of AEW fans, myself included, were disappointed. Now the story comes full circle. Kenny Omega appears to be injured. That's what's going around in the news websites as of right now. So, needless to say, Hangman Adam Page will be world champion for the foreseeable future. I don't think there's going to be a rematch coming anytime soon between Omega and Page. But what's next? Because AEW clearly made the right move. The right move was to have Hangman Adam Page dethrone Kenny Omega. The right man won at Full Gear. But what now? What now? Because fans clearly want to see Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson in a rematch. They want a decisive winner. Most importantly, they want that match to be for the AEW World Championship. And that match could have happened in the very near future had Kenny Omega not lost, because Bryan Danielson, defeated Miro in the finals of the Eliminator Tournament. Much like last year, Kenny Omega defeated Hangman Adam Page in those very same finals. But it's too damn soon to take the title off of Hangman Adam Page. At least that's my opinion. And that's the opinion of most fans out there, because they don't like hot-shotting the titles. They don't like playing hot potato with the World Heavyweight Championship. So what do we do now? What do we do now? Page versus Danielson, one-on-one for the World Heavyweight Championship. No Kenny Omega. None of that is happening for the foreseeable future. What do we do next? I mean, Page has to retain. They have to try to establish him as a top guy, as a main eventer. And what better way is there for that than to have him beat Bryan Danielson in a world title defense, in his very first world title defense? Now that would send a hell of a message to the wrestling world.